World. But where are we? And why is it here? Well, join me in just a few moments. Family on English soil. And our house hunt gets them in a bit of a flap.
I think I wasn't expecting quite such quirkiness, so I'll reserve judgment.
But later on, confusion turns to jubilation.
That is fantastic.
Well, today we're in Worcestershire, at Shelsley Walsh, a tongue twister of a place with a racetrack to match. Established back in 1905, it predates Le Mans and Monza, and is a lovely testament to the history of British motorsport. The hill climb here is thought to be one of the oldest motorsports events in the world. Some of the greats have raced here, including Stirling Moss back in 1947. Now, later on in the programme, I'll be back sampling the delights of this racetrack, but it's a lovely taster as to what the rest of Worcestershire has to offer. Set in the West Midlands, Worcestershire is bordered by Herefordshire, Shropshire and Gloucestershire. To the west of the county sits the spa town of Malvern in the shadow of the Malvern Hills. With over 100 miles of footpaths and bridleways, this area offers spectacular panoramic views of the countryside. As the River Severn makes part of its 220-mile journey through this county, it passes through the historic city of Worcester. Besides the magnificent cathedral, which dates back to Norman times, it's the home of Royal Worcester Porcelain, whose former factory building from 1840 still survives. Even though production ceased in 2008, there's a museum which houses the largest collection of Royal Worcester in the world. Indeed, the heritage of its market towns and villages, combined with stunning countryside, make this county an appealing proposition for those seeking a rural move. Now, in England and Wales, the average detached property will set you back around about £255,000. Here in Worcestershire, that figure is pretty comparable at £259,000. So as you can see, as counties go, this one is pretty much on a par with the rest of the country. But as ever, there are variations. House hunt around Evesham and you'll certainly get a little bit more for your money. But head down south toward Broadway, with its lovely feel of the Cotswolds, you could easily add 40% to those national figures. But wherever you decide to live in Worcestershire,
And he moved out with 4 children. We went out to visit him and we really liked it, didn't we?
Yeah.
that was 5 years ago. Now they're back in the UK and staying temporarily with family in Surrey. As Lyndon recently retired from his work as a doctor, they've decided the time is right to return home and reconnect with family and friends.
We're returning to our roots. We're family here, our ties are here.
They were also starting to miss the English outdoors. On top of that, they want to get involved with the local community.
If you took away the sunshine, the weather, aspects of English life that you just don't get there, you can never go down to a village and go in a village pub and have a drink. It would be nice to be back here and be able to go to English villages.
Having sold their house in Australia already, they're keen to find their country home here as soon as possible.
The area we're looking to move to is North Worcestershire. It's there we know fairly well, and it's lovely countryside, and I'm happy to say there are a lot of really lovely golf courses in that area, which would suit me enormously.
Because I had a swimming pool in Australia, if there happened to be one with a
Lyndon and Paula want us to focus their house search towards the north of the county, preferably in the area around Blakeshaw. I'm meeting them to discover more about what they want from their country property. Well, Lyndon and Paula, welcome back to the West Midlands. This is originally home for you.
Yeah.
And a return to your roots. Big change, though, from Australia. Many people looking at your life over the last 5 years will say, why are you coming back? Sunshine, pool...
Well, there are several reasons, in actual fact, but probably the main one is the fact that we actually want to return to where we came from, to be with family, friends, and all the areas that we know.
What sort of spec are we looking for on our ideal property?
Ideally 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that we need is another room, either for as a bedroom to convert to a study for Lyndon to write his book, or a study downstairs.
Now, the book writing is interesting, isn't it? We do often get writers on this show, but it's always an idea. But I get the feeling with you, Lyndon, that this is actually going to happen. You're going to write it.
Oh yes, it's partly written already. It's on its way.
So a nice writer's den.
Absolutely.
A light and airy kitchen, living space, 3 bedrooms. Outside space?
Not so worried about garden, because neither of us are hugely enthusiastic gardeners. But the thing I really want is a view. I want to see the country.
OK, so it's all to play for, then?
Yeah,
All to play for.
All to play for.
We've got 3 to show you, including, of course, our mystery house, and £400,000 of your hard-earned and saved money to spend.
Great.
Shall we?
Look forward to it.
Go on then, follow me. So with a budget of £400,000 banked from the sale of their house in Australia, Lyndon and Paula have drawn up a wish list of what they hope this will buy them here in Worcestershire. They want a large kitchen, 3 bedrooms, a room or outbuilding for a study, views over countryside and a manageable English country garden. We have 3 properties with which to tempt them, but I'll only reveal the price tag at the end of each tour. Our last offering will of course be the Mystery House, which promises to take them right out of their comfort zone. To begin our property shopping, we're heading to Wolverley, a pretty village on the banks of the River Stour and the Staffordshire and Worcestershire Canal. It's a peaceful location suited for connecting with life outdoors. And the village amenities are a good starting point to meet local residents for some inside knowledge about the area. Well, Wolverley seems to me like a fairly nice place to live. You would agree, I presume?
It certainly would, yes, indeed.
What are the best bits about it?
Village community. The village shop certainly is the centre of the village.
The church is 14th century. It's mentioned in the Domesday Book. The pub is about 14th century as well. So it's got massive history.
Now, you mentioned the pub. This is something that you are hankering after.
Yes.
Following 5 years in Oz.
We've missed the good old British pub when we've been in Australia.
We've been into 4 in the last 2 days.
Catching up to do.
I'm beginning to think that we might have started in the right place. So I think we should drink up and go and find property number 1. Well, the community certainly made us feel welcome, and just a short walk away is our first property. Well, we've already given you a taster of the delights of Wolverley Village itself, and what we'd like to offer you for our first property, the Dovecote.
That's pretty amazing.
That's impressive.
Well, we thought we'd start with quirky. As you can see, it's arranged over 4 floors.
Yeah.
It's quite a clever conversion, this. It's quite difficult to incorporate modern homes into structures like this, which, of course, were never designed to be domestic. It's worth pointing out here, you can see this garage arrangement, but what it offers is a footprint, potentially for your writing studio.
Yeah, okay.
You mean I can shut him in the shed?
You can shut him in the shed.
Interesting and different.
Yes. Interesting is a slightly loaded comment, isn't it, really, sometimes?
Yes.
We didn't expect that.
No, we didn't.
Ready for a bit of quirky?
Yep.
Yep.
Come and have a look. This extraordinary 18th century building has clearly stopped Lyndon and Paula in their tracks. It extends over 4 levels, so we'll start at the rear entrance and work our way up. Come in. What do you reckon?
It's
a lovely kitchen.
It's nice. I like that.
Straight
kitchen.
into it.
Yeah. I love cooking, so the kitchens are very important to me. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
a real sort of usable kitchen.
And we
lots of
like,
space.
that configuration. We like a dining kitchen. Yeah, I like that.
Good.
That's great.
Now, as I said, it's arranged over 4 floors, so there is only one way to go from here.
And that's all.
And that's up, yeah. Follow me this way.
So the kitchen has definitely kept their interest on simmer. From here the stairs lead up to the next level and a generous reception room.
Wow.
Yes, it's
Different.
Unexpected, this house, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the key thing, I think, with a building like this is space. You know, it is a kind of vertical series of spaces.
No, that's a good. Actually, that's a good-sized room. That's fine. Don't want
Yeah.
it too large, but that's I like that.
How's the quirky going down?
The quirk is going down, but it's...
It's got stuck.
stuck. I think I wasn't expecting quite such quirkiness, so I reserve judgment.
Okay. Well, there are 2 more floors to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go up and look at those.
Okay.
Follow me.
The stairs from the front hallway lead up to the next level, where there are 2 bedrooms, one of which could make a great study for Lyndon. And there's also a small family bathroom.
Now, finally, we've reached the top. You'll be pleased to know. Come on in. Come in, Lyndon. Grab the door.
Yeah.
So this is your master floor.
It's nice. It has a nice feel about it. I like all the light. I like the unusual windows. That's
Yes,
great.
these round windows are
Yeah,
lovely.
they're lovely.
But you've also got an ensuite in there. Have a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take that for.
Shower room and so on.
Yeah. Okay. Another round window. with
Yeah.
Skylight.
That's quite roomy,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. You're still smiling. That's the main
Feels
thing.
like.
Oh no, it is very different.
I sense that Lyndon and Paula's initial enthusiasm has waned somewhat, but I think they'll be impressed by the space outside, which has a distinctly English country garden feel.
Well, let's settle down here, halfway down the garden, and take in its 2 very distinct halves, because that's quite a surprise,
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't expect to see that. So
No. Lovely mature orchard, loads of apple trees in there. At the bottom of it, quite a useful little summer house. I'm thinking again, another writing option.
Another occasion for me to write it.
Well, you get into the bottom of the garden there, don't you? You see?
Yeah, that would be
By the
good.
way.
Let's have a think about the price then. Who's going to go first?
I think it's probably somewhere near the top of our budget.
Yep.
Budget was 400,000, so I'd probably think about sort of 385.
385, yeah. Paula?
Yes, I'd probably say 395.
395. Well, you're going to hate this. He's right.
Really? I am going to hate that.
Well done, Lyndon.
Thank you.
Yeah, property number 1, Dovecote, could be yours for £385,000. Go and indulge it a little bit more.
Okay.
And I'll catch up with you later on.
All right. Thank
Off you go.
Okay, thanks.
Cheerio.
Okay.
Under budget at £385,000, this converted dovecote may have an unconventional layout, but it does answer the criteria on their wish list, giving them a large modern kitchen, 3 bedrooms, a garden with an orchard, and it puts them in the heart of a vibrant village community.
Well, when I first arrived, I saw quirky and exciting, bit of a challenge, but going into the house and seeing the various rooms around the house, thought it was interesting, but the thing that put me off was the stairs, because I think that as we get older, I don't want to be going up and down 3 flights of stairs. That would be too much of a challenge for me.
When I first saw this house, I thought, it wasn't quite what I wanted, too many floors. Having seen inside, it's actually quite interesting. I don't know whether it's quite for us, so I just think we need to have a think about that, perhaps see what else you have to offer us.
Well, there we are. Property number 1. We started with quirky for you. Question is, what's next?
Going to make the cricket bat from, which is going to be the hitting area, and then we'll move it through a
Sort of property that we had in mind. It was just the house wasn't quite exactly what we wanted.
Well, then we went to property 2, which I think, as we said, was a much more conventional approach, with that fantastic studio in the garden. What are your thoughts on that one now? Because that seemed to go rather well.
Yeah. There really isn't anything I don't like about the property, with the exception of the size, probably.
Okay.
But I really like the property.
Lyndon?
Yeah, I think one of the really nice things about that property was the conservatory. That's the sort of property that we like, sort of conservatory, that lovely studio office in the bottom of the garden, those were real positive points. We could live there, and I think that's really what you need to do, to think, could I live there? The answer is yes, we
Yes,
could live there.
yeah.
Good. Okay. So it's still on the agenda.
Still on the agenda.
Now then, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is our mystery house on the agenda?
I think that there are two issues there really with that house. One is the fact that it's still a work in progress, and that's something which I found a bit difficult to come to terms with. And also its location. It's a bit far away from the sort of area that we were looking at as a central hub.
Well, I did try and sell it to you as best I could, but I was clearly pushing uphill. So where do we go from here? I mean, you've got just a few weeks till all the gear turns up. You know, the pressure's on.
Well, actually, that's quite easy. I'm going to get some family to come and have a look at property 2, because I really like that property, and I feel I could live there.
As a reintroduction back to UK, it was spot on.
Brilliant. Guys, well, I'm delighted. Do go and have a look at property 2
I will.
then. And let us know how you get on. I'd love to hear that you've managed to buy it. And soon.
You know, in some respects, there have been some obvious frustrations for Paula and Lyndon on this house search. They've had to leave behind a home in Australia, which they built from scratch and which, of course, in many ways, was perfect for them. Then they had to reconcile the
giữa trời đông, hay là tất cả những đau khổ sẽ trực trào tuôn nhạt má hồng, hãy lý do cho tôi chén rượu đầy tôi phải uống để còn say mềm. Hãy lý do cho tôi chén rượu đầy tôi cần phải uống để còn say mềm. Tôi muốn quên hết đi kiếp làm người thân tàn ma dại kẻ tàn hơi. Tôi muốn quên đi kiếp làm người thân tàn ma dại kẻ tàn hơi. Quanh tôi trời đất điên cuồng qua gục xuống tai nghe rợn tiếng cười. Quanh tôi trời đất điên cuồng qua tôi gục xuống tai nghe rợn tiếng cười. Rượu thấm vào tim sẽ ấm lòng tôi à, hay càng thêm lạnh buốt giữa trời đông, hay là tất cả những đau khổ sẽ trực trào tuôn nhạt má hồng, hãy lý do cho tôi chén rượu đầy tôi phải uống để còn say mềm. Hãy lý do cho tôi chén rượu đầy tôi cần phải uống để còn say mềm. Tôi muốn quên hết đi kiếp làm người thân tàn ma dại kẻ tàn hơi. Tôi muốn quên đi kiếp làm người thân tàn ma dại kẻ